Hey everybody, checking in to see how you're doing. Hope all is well. How's your peace, love, and chaos going? I like the peace and the love, but sometimes the chaos gets in the way, right? So I live in a building, a high-rise residential condo building, and it's so interesting. It's definitely a great opportunity to study human behaviors and interactions, which of course is what I geek out on most of the time anyway. So it's a great opportunity. Elevator conversations and lobby shenanigans and then you add a wine and beer bar down on the first floor, and boy, that really can mm, amplify all of the goings on. So I was thinking about, relationships and how we interact with each other and how we present ourselves to each other. So it, and that so many people are just really lonely these days. Um, I guess it's on full display when you see it in multiples, in scale. So my building, it's kind of like interesting as in like watching people watching at the airport, except for you get to know these people, their rhythms and movements and how they choose to show up in the world. So I was thinking about, you know, the loneliness and how ultimately people want to be seen and heard and loved for who they are, right? We all want that. And a lot of times we don't show people who we truly are because that is a very vulnerable position. And if you're not seen and heard and loved for who you are, but you're rejected or ridiculed or something of the sort, then that hurts and you don't want to open yourself up for that. So I think a lot of us are going around wearing masks, um, masking who we are, who truly are. It's very rare that somebody will get to see your true self. And I don't mean not wearing a mask and like letting all of your intimate, personal, private details, out to the world. That's not what I'm talking about, wearing a mask or not wearing a mask. I mean, how do you choose to show up in the world? Are you your authentic self? Like, I'm the calm of the storm. I'm a very calm person. I tend to sit in the middle of the merry-go-round for centeredness and groundedness. Um, I adore my kids and I'm here for them however they choose to show up in the world. And I have friends and family members and people in my life that I absolutely adore. And there are people that are in my life that I have boundaries with and I keep them at a distance. But ultimately, I'm a pretty even keel, loving, kind, compassionate person. And I see their behaviors, their energy, I feel their energy, and I see, like connections from childhood, like the family that they grew up in and how those patterns locked in when they were kids and young adults and how they play out in adulthood now. So when I first meet somebody, I don't typically tell them all of that because it's a lot. I know that I can be intense and I'm not for everybody. However, I'm not going to hide who I am. I'm not going to deceive a new person about who I am. I'm definitely woo and spiritual and energetic and yeah, that's who I am. So as I'm watching other people um, figure out how they want to show up in the world, um, a lot of people aren't comfortable or really connected with who they are as a person. So I think that's probably the root of a lot of issues, probably the root of most all issues, if I could say that, is not being connected with self, not knowing yourself. I mean, know thyself. So if we're just bumping along in life, um, letting letting the current just pull you along and things fall in your lap or don't, and there's no intention, and there's no reflection, and there's no connection with yourself. Um, I would call that living at surface level. There's not a lot of depth going on to anchor you into who you are. And what I see a lot of times is then there's a want for that love and connection from someone else, and those people are expecting the other person um to like be their everything or be to love them. But if you don't love yourself, or if you don't know yourself, we can only love other people to the level that we love ourselves. So if you want someone else to love you or connect with you or, be in your life, there a lot of times there are really big expectations that that person can save you or fix you or love you in spite of all of your flaws when you can't love yourself for in spite of all your flaws. So there's a lot of wonky expectations on other people, that we have expectations of other people, but we don't we don't do it ourselves, if that makes sense. So there are numerous ways to cope with that, right? To not be connected with self, to choose to um, numb, um, avoid, um, soothe ourselves with, all sorts of different things. Alcohol, if the bar's downstairs, alcohol, weed, drugs, um, shopping, and it can be other behaviors too, like being so busy that you don't have time to yourself. You don't have time to dig into yourself, whatever that means for you. It could be, I have a long standing journey of digging into myself, know myself. I love that. I love that stuff. I eat personal and spiritual development for breakfast every day. That's my something I do. Um, so yeah, if we're too busy, um, too stressed, too tired, not enough time, put upon, like there's so many requirements. I have kids, or I have to take care of my parents, or both. That's definitely a thing these days, and I totally get that. I was in that position as well. Um, so yeah, where am I going with this? So it started off with, observations of people at scale in my building, and um, how they choose to show up in the world. And ultimately, there's just this layer of loneliness, that people are very lonely, but they don't know how to connect with each other on a genuine, authentic level that's lasting. I mean, ideally, you want connections and friendships and relationships that last and that aren't fleeting. It's not just for a night or a week or a month or whatever the case may be. But in order to connect with someone else, we have to be connected to ourselves. So, eh, um, yeah, that's the conundrum. We can't put it on other people. It's our responsibility to be connected and connect with ourselves. So, as an example, um, yes, I've had my share of relationships, and I have learned a great deal in every single one of them. Um, yeah, definitely leveling up for each one as far as like my growth and things that I have learned. Um, my dad, my dad has passed, so I guess I can tell some of his. It's not secrets because if you knew him, you knew these things. My dad was married and divorced 10 times. Yes, I said 10. And what's interesting about that, my observation of human behavior, what's interesting about that is he never thought that the failure of the relationship was because of him. He was the common denominator in all 10 of those marriages and divorces, and yet it was always the other person. I always find that very interesting. If we are going around requiring things of other people and also blaming other people on our problems, it's backwards. It's backwards. We allow what's in our life. We choose what's in our life. We're manifesting what's in our life. And not choosing or not putting up boundaries or not saying no and allowing something in your life is also a choice. That's a decision. So, what have you decided is allowed in your life? Is it people that are surface level, people that don't value you, um, chaos? We can absolutely allow chaos in our life. And I get that life can be chaotic. Life is life. There's all sorts of ups and downs and monkey wrenches thrown at our heads, randomly here and there. It's life. It's, learning opportunities all over the place. So, with that being said, what do we choose? What do we choose to bring in our life? Because it is a choice, right? I'm not asking for confirmation. I know that. Do you know that? So, with the ups and downs of life, topsy-turvy, the curves and obstacles and whatnot, how do we stay centered? How do we stay grounded? How do we get through that? That is the knowing of self. I can stand on my own 2 feet. I know who I am. I really like who I am. I love who I am. And I'm solid in who I am. I'm solid in who I allow in my space. I'm solid in who I don't allow in my space. And if I have friendships and relationships and people in my life, it's intentional. And if I don't have any of those, that's okay too. That's okay because I can stand on my own 2 feet every time. If if I venture into a relationship, I am I am going to play full out. I am going to be my full self. Maybe not like unloading it all on the first day because I can be a lot. I can be intense. I know that. So there's a process of getting to know each other and um, learning about each other and love relationships, whether it's friendships or a personal relationship. Love is being vulnerable and open and honest and taking that risk, right? You don't take the risk. It's a very narrow, it's a very small definition of love. It's probably just surface level. So to take that risk is can be a little scary, right? Hmm. Yeah, it can be a little scary. And I know that I can stand on my own 2 feet no matter what. I have come back from hmm, a lot of tower and phoenix burning moments and started all over again. I know I can do it again and every time. So the choice of either being alone or having a potential relationship, I make those choices and I get to stand on my own 2 feet and choose who gets to be in my space or not. So watching the people in the building, oh, maybe I should have some master classes on know thyself and self connection, right? Um, yeah, I see the fear. I see the fear. People are hesitant to be vulnerable and open and honest and show up as their full authentic self, both for fear, but also that they don't fully know themselves and they're expecting other people to figure that out. I remember that. I remember going through early coaching programs that I had no idea who I was, no idea. And so I would rely on other people to tell me what they saw. And that's not a bad thing. And that's just a beginning. Like who, close people in your life, family members or people that, good friends that have known you for a really long time. Who do you see me as? How do I show up in the world? What is your perspective? And so that kind of helps you start putting those pieces together. But then at some point, this is who I am, and this is who I choose to be. It's how I choose to show up in the world. And then I'm not, relying on other people to validate who I am or tell me who I am. I know who I am. Feedback is fine. That's great. Um, but I know who I am. What else? What else? think that was I think that was a good Friday evening musing. I hope you are all well. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll do this again soon.